Hello, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics / Non-Classics. This is episode number 196, and Doubleshot number 130. Got two Superman graphic novels for you. Alright, first up, it's Superman, Mon-El, Volume 2, Man of Valor. That's one of his nicknames, so why not? This book contains his story from Superman Secret Files 2009, Superman Annual 14, which is a Mon-El story. It's just one story for the whole annual. Superman 692 to 697, and one of the two stories from Adventures Adventure Comics, Volume 2, Number 11. This book simply wraps up the Mon-El stuff as relates to Superman. You get also the one of the stories in here is the origin story of Mon-El, basically of his birth, in a way. Plus, it picks up right after Codename Patriot, which during that crossover, it was apparently seen that apparently Supergirl, Nightwing, Flamebird apparently killed Mon-El. It turns out it was actually Metallo, Reactron, and some magic woman. Turns out that he's actually alive and well, and because of his apparent death, everyone believes he's dead. So basically, the Guardian, who is Jim Harper's clone, he outs not to the public. No, he just outs the science police people who were in the bar that Mon-El was really Jonathan Kent, who actually was one of their officers, and Belly Harper, who was Jim Harper, the original Jim Harper. He was his grandniece. I mean, it's kind of implied she had a thing for him, and it turns out she actually does have a thing for him. And then basically when Mon-El escaped from where he was, basically he was taken captive by General Lane. Yes, the father of Lucy Lane and Lois Lane took him captive. Yes, and they even have it where he meets Parasite, and you get a chance to see Atlas. Oh, and one of the other best things about this book, if you're wondering where the heck Steel is in all this, Jonathan Ryan, apparently he's been in a coma since Atlas showed up. Which I haven't read the Atlas story yet, but that apparently would happen though. And when you see him, he actually wakes up from his coma. He says, "Where is Atlas?" I'm not sure if this will be followed up on. I have no idea. I hope it does. But also, when he basically sort of reveals that he's alive, and of course he meets it with Belly later, Belly Harper, that's her name. Basically, these two become an actual couple, an actual romantic couple. Like, there's a scene of them in bed, and then later on there's a scene of them in the shower. Yes. Now, I have no idea. It's never stated in here if Jim has a problem with this at all. I would think that, I would think that he would not have a problem with this because Belly clearly loves Mon-El. And it also is revealed exactly who sent the potion back in time to give him, like, a cure for his lead poisoning. Turns out it was actually a Duralan. Yes, Duralans are not a New 52 creation. Yes, they actually existed in the pre-Flashpoint universe, but they weren't exactly like heavy villainized like Robert Venditti did it in the Green Lantern series. But he doesn't necessarily get a chance to say goodbye to her. He does love her, which I do appreciate. James Robinson. I do appreciate. Yeah, James Robinson is the one to write this with Javier Pino, Bernard Chang, and Fernando Denio does all the artwork in here. James Robinson does a fantastic job writing this character. He's a Silver Age character, mind you, not Golden Age character. So you're probably thinking James Robinson is going to redefine Golden Age characters, but he's a character from the Silver Age. But he does write him really well. After reading both books and understanding and basically reviewing both of them, you can probably be thinking though, yeah, I should pick these two books up. because it's James Robinson, and he writes this character so well. It's just too bad his story just abruptly ends because of the last New Krypton crossover, which I'm going to get to soon. And he has a bunch of interactions in here with... he meets up with Dr. Light briefly, and this is the second Dr. Light, the woman who's a Japanese, not Arthur Light, completely different character. He does have interactions also with Superboy, Connor Kent. He interacts with him a lot. It's like Connor Kent is like a supporting character in this book just prior to him getting his ongoing series, which was canceled with 11 issues before it gets relaunched back in #1 with New 52. But at the end of the book, basically, it reveals what happens to him. He basically gets sent back to Phantom, which somehow has been restored, and he goes to the future, and somehow Superman is there for some reason. My guess is, and there is some artwork in here I should show you. This looks very similar to that of the artwork that was seen at the beginning of Adventure Comics. Yeah, I mean that, even though that is the ending of the book, but I'm just showing you the artwork. It's very similar to that of Adventure Comics #0. I think it's the same as that art. Of course, it's the regular art anyways, because 2 issues later, the book Adventure Comics gets restored to its original numbering. Yes, it does. I mean, originally the book started as a Superboy book with a League of Superheroes backup story. Then, after he left, they still had the character in there, but not very much as heavily featured. But I gotta say, definitely 2 really good volumes, and I definitely recommend this to anybody who's a Superman fan, or even a League of Superheroes fan, because Mon-El is a member of League of Superheroes. So, excuse me, I give this book a 9 out of 10. Great book, I definitely recommend it, and it's good I got these 2 volumes reviewed. Now, even though I have not reviewed Nightwing and Flamebird Volume 2 yet, but I do have here Superman, the Last Stand of New Krypton, Volume 2, which this book, I'll review who the writers are in a minute. This book contains Adventure Comics 1011. It doesn't have that backup story, it's a different one. Supergirl 52, Superman 699. This is before the 700th issue, and Superman Last Stand New Krypton #3. Now, Brainiac himself, spoiler here. I mean, it's not exactly a big spoiler because the book itself is like almost 6 years old by now. Brainiac himself does get defeated, and there is an appearance in here by the original Brainiac's son, Val Dox, who was also known as Brainiac II. And if you have Brainiac 5 in here, who's Brainiac 3 and 4? 3 is Valor Dox's son. Brainiac 4 is Brainiac 5's father, which nobody took the name Brainiac after the 3rd Brainiac for like 1,000 years. That is basically how I can easily explain it. However, this is one awesome book. Also, something interesting though, Superman does not wear his Kryptonian, his military uniform at all. The entire time he's wearing his Superman costume. Yes, he is wearing his Superman costume. And in case you're wondering, in case you ask, does Superman fight Brainiac? The answer is no. He fights him like one time in the whole book and lasts maybe a couple pages. Most of the time, Brainiac is fighting General Zod, which that itself is very interesting, to say the least. Oh, and the writing is definitely done by James Robertson and Sterling Gates. That's who does the writing the entire book. And the Adventure Comics stuff is mainly due to I mean, you have pretty much the entire Superman family involved with this crossover. But this crossover does lead into a 5-issue limited series, which I'm going to get soon, of basically the War of the Superman. Basically, this book has also a 2-page preview of the War of the Superman. Yeah, it picks up. Like, right after the thing is over with, at the end of the book, there is a 2-page preview of the War of Superman story. Which, I gotta say, that's a really brilliant stroke of genius, which gets people a chance to actually buy the War of the Superman trade. And this book is awesome. Really good, and I definitely recommend it to anybody who even wants to give a chance. I mean, if you don't like the current Superman. If you want to get a chance to read some stuff related to Free Flashlight Superman, this is one book I definitely recommend. But this is kind of toward the ending point of post-crisis Superman. If you want to read a starting point, a good starting point, read Superman Man of Steel Volume 1. That's your starting point right there for post-crisis Superman. This is kind of like toward the ending point. Yes. Oh, in case you're wondering, what happens at the end of this crossover? In the case of Superman, the controversial Grounded crossover, Action Comics gets taken over by Lex Luthor. Superman himself does take over the book into issue 900. Supergirl goes on like no other one's business. Though Sterling Gates does lead the book no long after the conclusion of this crossover. And there's a mention in the Supergirl issue. There is a reference to what is going on in the Supergirl book, which is basically how Lana and Supergirl are not getting along very much. I do appreciate... Now, I gotta say this. Sterling Gates, if you're watching this, as someone who had recently gotten through reading Supergirl Volume 5, I thought it was a brilliant stroke of genius for you to make Lana Lang a supporting character in Supergirl and making Supergirl her adopted niece. Brilliant stroke of genius. And great writing too. And you got great writing here too, also. I know one of his most recent books that he did was Forever Argus. He did that one. And he does some other books recently, but he's a very good writer, just like James Robertson. But I hold, even though I do like Sterling Gates, I've got more appreciation for him due to reading his run on Supergirl. But I've always loved James Robertson's writing. And I definitely recommend this and the Mon-El book. Definitely also James Robertson fans. If you love his writing style, you love this. And like that book, I am also giving this book a 9 out of 10. Get it if you can find it. Even though the book is like 5 years old, it's only about $20, and that's regular price. The price may have dropped down in the past 6 years, but I definitely recommend picking it up. But if you want to start the storyline right, read the Superman New Krypton. There's a 4-volume tree. You start there first. You get those 4 books, along with this book, along with the first 2 books. The Nightwing and Flamebird volumes 1 and 2. This one in its previous volume, and War of Superman, and that's pretty much the entire of the entire new Krypton stuff. That's in no basic order, but I would start with New Krypton first, and then read the 2 volumes of this, and alongside with Nightwing, Flamebird, and of course read Supergirl. You gotta read Supergirl, and then you read the 2 volumes of Last New Krypton, and then it concludes. And then the last book you have to complete this entire story is War of the Supermen. That is where you... Oh, I also recommend the Codename Patriot crossover, which I've also reviewed. So basically you've got at least... let's see. 4... 5... 9... 11... Basically, you got 12 graphic novels to read in order to fully grasp the New Krypton stuff. Yes, I know that's a lot of books, but I'm sure the books are pretty cheap now. I know for a fact not a lot of people like this particular type of thing, this particular type of storytelling. But if you read it now, you probably understand. You probably enjoy a lot more than when it originally came out. I mean, it works better in trade than it did when it originally came out. That's what I recommend. Alright, so that's it. Stay tuned for the next episode, which should be episode 187 and Doubleshot number 131. Till then, see you there. Bye.